Hello, Kerryn Powell from Your Time Matters, and I'd like to introduce you today to Michael Licenblat from Bounce Back Fast. Hi, Michael.
Hey, Kerryn, how you doing?
Good, thank you. Thank you for your patience with a few technical glitches on my side. I wanted to just have a chat to you today about the session that you're running at YTM on the 26th of March, how to increase your revenue and bounce back fast in the competitive markets that we're in today. Everybody is selling something, if it's their self to start with. But just before we talk about that, Michael, how did you end up in the space that you're working in now?
So for me, after I finished my psychology training, I became a practitioner in shiatsu, which is not a dog, but it's like acupuncture, but without needles. And I love the work that, shiatsu did, how you'd be able to help people to be more healthier, less tension, and in a very natural sort of way. And I had my own practice for 7 years, worked with about sort of 4,000 people over that time. And I built up my practice sort of old style. I went down to the local printer, got a whole wad of flyers printed up, and then just went door to door with all the businesses that were about in a 5K radius of me, and just gave out flyers to everyone. And pretty much cut my teeth on dealing with knockbacks and rejections and pushbacks and all of that. You got to understand that us shiatsu folk, we're not marketing people. We're more sort of your tree hugging, group chanting, shoulder massaging kind of people. We weren't built, we weren't thinking around marketing. So I had to learn the skill, I had to change hats from being, good at what I do to being good at being able to get there and sell what I do.
Sure.
So in the process, having to talk to lots of people, sure, there was lots of setbacks and rejections along the way, and I had to be able to deal with that. But it's also how well you can recover from that, still turn up as fresh and happy and bubbly with the next interaction, so that one doesn't drain you through. And if I wasn't able to learn that particular skill, I wouldn't have been able to build the practice up and eventually sell it and do what I do now.
Sure, certainly is a skill that we need. My parents had a caravan manufacturing business, and I remember them having the caravan trading shows, and I was in charge of stamping the brochures, and they would give out a lot of those brochures at the shows before they perhaps would get the sale, and had to follow up. So I guess I was brought up in a family that's always had that sales approach, but had to deal with the knockbacks as well. So how do you suggest to people that are finding it hard to pick up the telephone to make it through to that next stage? I know this is what we're going to cover at the session at YTM, but got any tips there that you can add?
So what we're facing now in business, we've got more competition than ever before. There's more to do in less time. And as either business owners or people who are managing people in a business, you're touching more things than ever before in terms of how many jobs you're doing, how many things you're responsible for. And business development or lead generation or sales and marketing now requires a lot more face-to-face. Sure, we are relying on social media and other aspects to get the introduction, but if you're selling a service of some description where it's personality related, we've got to be able to get more face-to-face with people, and the way in which we turn up and the energy we turn up with is absolutely crucial. So we need to understand that needs to be, that kind of activity has to be embedded as part of our day-to-day activity. Now, it doesn't mean you've got to turn up as the loudest person, the happiest person in the room. In fact, no. What needs to happen is for you to be exactly as you are. If you are a quiet, reserved introvert, to be exactly that, but be comfortable and be competent and motivated in the way in which you approach people. But it's got to be consistent, because you can be the best practitioner, you can have the best services, the best thing to offer, but if no one knows about it, if you're the world's biggest secret, then no clients is no business.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think, as you say, that face-to-face and the connection is so important, because it makes you stand out. You can have a lot of people who are in the same industry, but it's actually the way people connect with you emotionally that is what draws people into your service or product, I think.
In fact, there's a mentor of mine, Matt Church, who would often say that your energy is your currency. So it's important to invest that wisely, the way in which you turn up. So if you're dealt with pressure in the business and a setback and a rejection, that can affect the energy and how you turn up, what you say, how you engage, whether you do or don't do the number of approaches you need to do. So it's so important to manage that energy, and how you do that can be quite specific as well.
Great. Well, I'm really looking forward to the session. It's going to be quite interactive, and there's always more to learn, and it's great to reframe what you hear to make it apply to your own business. So look forward to it, and thank you very much for your time and patience today.
Oh, absolute pleasure. And as I think I'd mentioned briefly that in one of our previous chats, we talked about a lot of people have invested a lot of time and energy into learning selling techniques, but if they're not able to get past the rejections, the apprehension or otherwise, all that information doesn't get applied. So in our session, we'll be talking about how to apply the good wisdom that you got, but using the psychology of implementation. That's looking forward to this.
Very much so. Thank you very much. Thank you.
No worries. See you then.
Bye.